This is the review of the Socom Gear Vickers M4. Before I start talking about anything else, I want to clarify that it is distributed by Socom Gear. It is OEM'd by VFC, meaning the gearbox is a VFC gearbox, high quality. The receiver and the rail is made by Mad Bull. It is licensed by Daniel Defense, and there's also a Vickers tactical emblem on the rifle, and it comes with a Noveske KX3 amplifier. So it has all sorts of trades in its name. Okay, now that I got that out of the way, let's talk about some specifications. It is a full-sized M4A1 carbine. Actually, it's a little bit longer than an M4 carbine, just a couple of inches longer. It is a 12-inch Daniel Defense rail. Now, it is a full metal rifle. It is made out of aluminum. The box states right here it is made out of T6 aluminum. It's high strength but very lightweight. After the spring settles in, which means I have to use it a little bit, it will settle to around 400 FPS. And the rest of the box just has a bunch of stickers and stuff on it. This is the inside of the box. It's rather plain. The rifle is held in very securely though. At this end, this is where the barrel sits. This holds in the main body of the rifle, this styrofoam piecer, and moving back even further, there's a cutout for the stock, just right in here. And then it also comes with a little compartment which has some screws and things. There's an Allen key, and the rifle itself comes packaged in a plastic bag, which is not for protection, just to keep dust and dirt out of it. The box, however, does not come with a manual for the gun. This here is the rifle itself. This is the Socom Gear Vickers M4 full metal. I obviously have a couple attachments on it. The ACOG sight, which is just a red dot sight, is added because the rifle itself does not come with any iron sights. None are built in, and it does not come with any rail mounted sights. Plastic orange flash hider. To replace that, it comes with a Noveske KX3 amplifier. It is a one-piece outer barrel, a 12-inch free-floating rail. It comes with a 130 round mid-cap magazine. The grip itself is made of a high-quality polymer, as is the crane stock. The grip is thinner to emulate that of a real AR-15 or M16 or M4, whichever you prefer. And the stock is also made of a high-quality polymer. The gun comes stock with a crane stock, which is of course rear wired to fit any crane stock battery. I personally have a 9.6 volt Intellect battery inside. The stock, when you first receive the gun, is very wobbly. It doesn't fit on the buffer tube very nicely, so I wrapped the tube with some electrical tape to reduce the wobbliness, and it does work rather well. To insert the battery, there are two tabs towards the end of the stock. Simply pinch those tabs, there's one on either side, and the rubber butt plate would just come right off. There's then a plastic piece right here, which you have to pull, and then inside there you can slide the battery in, which connects to the small type Tamiya connectors. The material of this stock is a high-strength polymer. It's not smooth, it has a bit of a scratchy texture to it, which is good because that makes it more rigid. Here you can see the two-piece receiver, full metal, Daniel Defense licensed. It is aluminum. Right here, right where they should be, are the Daniel Defense trademarks. It says Black Creek, Georgia, USA, M4 carbine, caliber 5.56 millimeter, and then Socom 2011, Socom being the distributor, short for Socom Gear, and 2011 for the year model. Now, the bolt catch is functional. I will demonstrate that in a moment. The fire selector switch standard, safe, semi, and full auto. Clicks into place very nicely. It's not too loose, but it's not too resistant. Slides very nicely. On the top part of the receiver, you can see the other Daniel Defense license. Moving further back is the functioning charging handle. Obviously it moves. And of course the mag release. It is not ambidextrous as of the majority of M4s. To access the internals of this rifle, simply punch out this pin right here. It is a self-retaining pin, so you don't have to worry about losing it. Now make sure the magazine is removed, which it is, and then the two halves, the two receivers, will slide right apart. Pictured here is the right side of the receiver. On this side of the receiver, you can see the Vickers tactical emblem. Larry Vickers was a Special Forces operative. Mag release, something that every gun has to have. Now, pulling the charging handle not only exposes the hop up, it also shows the functioning bolt catch. As you can see, the fake bolt is held back without having to hold back the charging handle. This is something common to all VFC M4s. Simply press the bolt release on the other side and it slaps forward. The overall sound of the charging handle, the dust cover, and the fake bolt gives a very realistic sound. I think that sounds nicely. Also, you can see again the fire selector modes. However, there is no indicator on this side. It is simply for aesthetic purposes. Last but not least, we have the barrel, the front end of the rifle. As I stated earlier, it is a 12-inch rail. However, measured, it is actually 12.5 inches. It is all aluminum, and it is Daniel Defense licensed. And now a little, I guess you can say error in the molding process, or not the molding process, but just how the rail fits to the receiver. If you notice right on top here, the rail is slightly higher than the actual receiver, so that could cause complications if you're trying to mount anything between the two parts. Moving on, however, the barrel is, I believe it's 16.5 inches long, not including the flash hider. So that is a couple inches longer than M4A1 carbine length, which is 14.5 inches long. Also, hidden underneath the rail, or within the rail, which you'll probably never be able to see, there is a gas tube, fake gas tube, which runs almost a full length, and then a gas block which sits right here. Out of the box, the gas tube is not held in place on this end. It's just kind of floating. I mean, the gas block holds it in just fine, but on this end there's nothing there. What that means is if you're moving the gun around, the gas tube will actually rattle and it makes a lot of noise, and it's annoying. So I took a little wad of duct tape and shoved it in there, and that silences it pretty well. Alright, before I end this video, I just want to talk about the rifle as a whole. Overall, it is an extremely lightweight but very tough and durable rifle. I just want to go over a couple problems that I noticed right out of the box. Starting at the front end, I already mentioned the gas tube. That was just a little noisy, so I fixed that, but that's not a real big problem. Another problem would be with the magazine. The mid-cap magazine did not feed when I first got it. It was very difficult to get the BBs in, and then it wouldn't feed at all, so I had to open it up and lubricate it a little bit. Further back a little bit, this grip is actually fine. When I installed the Magpul grip, the motor was kind of tight, but other than that, I think it kind of jumped around a little bit because every now and then the wires would actually just disconnect themselves, and then the gun would just die. So I also fixed that. I just clamped the wires on real tight. forgot one thing. Going back to the magazine, other magazines that I have don't fit in this gun. I don't know what brand they are. They're just kind of no-name brand magazines, or I just don't remember what brand they are. Basically, they're just too loose, or some of them. This little notch right here, that is where the mag catch, or mag release, whatever you want to call it, that's where it actually holds on to the magazine. On different magazines, this may be like a millimeter or two up or down, and that can actually cause feeding problems. I've encountered that. Going back a little bit further with the stock, I already mentioned how the stock was very wobbly. However, I did not mention that the wiring, which goes through the back of the gearbox, through the buffer tube, the wiring is very thin and it is very stiff, meaning that it is very high resistant, so you don't get very good electrical current going through there. Another reason that's bad is if you're trying to adjust stock length. I believe it's a 4-position stock, 4 or 5 positions. The wiring will bend, and it will basically just, it could get real tight, and then that could further make cause current problems, because the battery isn't going to be able to provide enough energy to go through like the bent thin wires and all that crap. So you may be wondering why I have this mag full stock if it's not even on the gun. Well, what I plan on doing with this rifle is I'm going for the whole black and tan look, but I'm also going to be installing an ASCU MOSFET, and I will be changing the plugs, the connectors, to Dean's plugs or connectors, and then I will have a buffer tube LiPo battery, and that is what I have this stock for, because that is going to go over all that to cover it up. So that is when this rifle will be finished. Right now everything is stock except for these little external things, and then I don't really need a Type 4 right now, basically because the rifle is already very accurate, already has some pretty long range. The bucking is also pretty good, but I decided to order a concave spacer just because you get a little more accuracy with that. Okay, now before I leave you, I have the battery installed already. There's no magazine, no ammo. I just want to give you a dry firing test. So first on semi-auto, and now on fully automatic. It's pretty good rate of fire. That's with a 9.6 volt battery. Stay tuned, as I will be doing more videos on installing the ASCU MOSFET, as well as a couple other things, and then I will have an overall performance test after I have the MOSFET and the LiPo in, and I should also have a shooting test, so please subscribe and you guys will be able to see that. Thank you.